morning. Uh-huh. Say hi, everybody.
Mama.
Yes, the cat. Yes, I have Elsie one more time. She's my special co-host today. Well, not really, just for the first little bit. Oh, no. She was. Do you want to say hi to everybody?
Say hi one more time.
Say hi. Can you blow everybody kisses?
Say I love
Say
you.
hi. Boop, 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 boop. Let's do it. Boop, boop, boop.
Mama.
Yeah. Boop, boop, boop. Okay.
Let's go.
All right, back to business, my friends. Good morning and happy New Year. So, yes, a quick little a little hello from Elsie. Um, yeah, like I'm so excited that they're still here with me. So this is the last time. She won't be with us next time. Actually, we'll talk about that next in one of our brewing topics. But first of all, happy New Year. Guys, we did it. We got through 2025. I don't know about you, but I'm glad that one's behind me. Wish it wasn't the year that it was, but I'm glad that it's over. Some other things coming up here the next little bit in January, and then I think I'm going to take a big exhale and cleansing breath, and then kind of move forward a little bit. But how are you? What did you do? Did you stay awake? I'll tell you what we did. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'll tell you a little bit again later. Some of the conversational pieces are going to be later on in coffee time, so I don't want to like give everything right now. But good morning to you. How was everything? How was your Christmas? How was your family get-togethers? How was New Year's Eve, New Year's Day for you? How are things going? So I'm so excited you're here. And if I didn't say good morning, Gina, I don't think I got to you yet this morning. Gina and Jim and Vicky, you guys, good morning. I know I probably didn't get to say good morning in the text, but hello, happy New Year. I had a rough morning. I woke up to. You really want to know? Do you really want to know? I woke up getting ready to jump in the shower, and one of the dogs had some, shall we say, explosive something or other all over my closet. So now I know, shut my closet door when I go to bed at night. The dogs are all a little, they're a little stressed out too. Just there's a lot of the decorating as soon as we got here, now the undecorating, and I still have my son's dog with us just for a few more days as they closed on their house in St. Augustine. And so Scatterboy's with me, and I think he's just super stressed out. And so, so that was how I woke up this morning. So good morning to all of you for that. So I jumped in the shower. Well, actually, I turned the shower on, and then I went and I cleaned everything, and then I got in the shower so I could clean. Anyway, so I see a few of you popped in. Laura, good morning to you. Jane, I think I said good morning to you, but if I didn't, then I'm sorry. Good morning to you again. All right, so let's see. We have a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on. There's a lot that we have to catch up on since we didn't have coffee time last week because it was the Monday after Christmas, and I just wanted to be able to enjoy family and friends, and I needed you to enjoy what was going on around you. So we took a little break. But obviously we're back this week. So I tell you what, let's get into the brewing topics because most of the things that I want to tell you about are kind of nestled within those topics. Sydney, good morning to you. It was an eventful morning. You are correct, my friend. It was, Elizabeth is joining us now. She says good morning from the other room. Yeah, we're excited about that. So, all right, let's get to our brewing topics and then we'll talk in depth about some of this other stuff. Meanwhile, chat in and tell me, try that again. Whoop. Chat in and tell me what you did for Christmas or New Year's, how it went for you, and then we'll talk about some of the other topics. Okay, so here we go. Now we can talk a little bit more at length. So the Happy New Year and Christmas review. We had it was a difficult Christmas. Obviously, a lot of you know it's the first Christmas without Eric. Last Christmas, he was not doing well, but he did come out and sit with us for a little bit. I have an absolute treasure. Oh, I should have brought it in here, but one of our traditions, by the way, I'm so sorry. We've all been sick. There's been COVID in our house. Thankfully, I've not had COVID, but I've had this other goop. So I'm a little nasally. It's rattling around up here. So if I sound weird, I apologize. But um, one of our traditions from when Eric's parents were alive is that Grandpa used to read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" to the grandkids on the sofa Christmas Eve, and continued that tradition until he had passed. And then Eric took over, and Eric would, read it to our kids. And this last Christmas was the first Christmas that we could continue that tradition with the grandchildren now that our kids are all grown up. And Eric didn't have much of a voice. It was difficult for him to get through. And so he and I sat on the sofa, our daughters and the grandbabies right beside us. And we decided, he really wanted to trooper through it and read the book. But he just wasn't going to be able to get it out. So he said, why don't we read every other page? And I was like, totally fine. So he started, I would read the next page. He would read a page, I would read a page. And then right when we got to the very end of the book, he knew the end of the story was coming. So he leaned over to me and he goes, I've got it from here. And that just touched me so much. Well, I hadn't seen that, or, because I was in the moment, I didn't record it, but I guess my son-in-law, daughter, somebody recorded it. And so they got it put into a memory. You open it up like a book, and then the video plays. It was so touching. So now forever we will have, Poppy reading "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" as best he could. Absolute treasure of a gift. So that was a nice little thing. But take a look at these pictures here. So there are my girls with the grandbabies, Elsie, Elizabeth, Allie, and Easton. And then, of course, in the middle, that's Maggie. They've got on some of the little Christmas reindeer little headband thing. And then there's Easton. So true story, we do another toast. Another tradition is that we do a toast with eggnog, not spiked or anything. Molly, don't you dare pull one of these cords. Go on, baby. The cat's down here. We do a Christmas Eve eggnog toast, usually to my dad. He loved eggnog, and so we used to go out and we would decorate a tree. We would find a tree outside. We would do a toast to my dad, and then we'd pour the rest of the eggnog at the base of the tree. It's just a tradition that we've had ever since, gosh, for as long as I know, because my dad passed away when Allie was 1 year old, so it's been a long time. Anyway, so we did eggnog, and at this point, the grandbabies were getting a little tired. It was Christmas Eve, a lot of excitement going on. They were ready to go to bed. And so they decided to give them a sip of the eggnog. Well, take a look at Easton. Like, do you think he liked it? And Elsie did the same thing. They ended up putting some eggnog in like a little sippy cup so they could actually drink it without spilling it everywhere. But anyway, so those are just a few pictures. There's a bunch, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. This was... because we were all sick. Oh, that's what it is. I usually sit up higher. I'm like wondering why I look weird in this. Oh, by the way, look at another Christmas gift I got. Look at that. Isn't that great? That's a pillow. My sister got me that. Now I know why I look weird. Well, I always look weird, but it's because I usually sit up higher. Is that better? There we go. Sorry, sitting on the pillow. Anyway, okay, so but yeah, so that was fun. The kids had their eggnog, and we did some of the Christmas Eve stuff. But because we've all been sick, there's just been a lot going on. So I didn't put as many pictures in to share with you our Christmas morning, because boy, was it magical. It was so, I told you before, Mimi, Santa came to Mimi's house for Elsie. That was a very special treasure. It was an incredible treat for me to help ease the holiday without him. So that was wonderful. I have so many pictures. There's a few more tucked in that we'll share with you as we go on, kind of like the baby section and the cup and stuff like that. I'll share some more pictures with you. But anyway, so why am I crying? Daggone it. Don't start out 2026 crying. Okay, I have to tell you a funny story. Like, for real. This is hysterical. So Elsie, there's been a lot of little choke up moments. And again, we'll get to part of that. Eric's celebration of life is coming up this week. So been a lot of high emotion, putting everything together for that. So trying to get that taken care of. Everyone's being sick, trying to make sure everybody feels okay. Dawson had to travel. He just went to Missouri for a leadership conference for he's on the executive board of his fraternity, and so last minute he had to go to Missouri. Just got back last night. He's been sick, like everybody's been sick, so it's just been a bit cuckoo crazy. So I didn't get all the pictures in there, but because there's been a little bit of emotion, well, Elsie is starting to understand emotions, and so whenever I start to tear up or cry, she goes, "Mimi's sad, Mimi's sad." And then Elizabeth is like, "Well, what do we do when somebody's sad?" And so she'll come over and she'll give a hug. But I told her, I said, "Oh my gosh," I said, "I hope Elizabeth or Elsie doesn't grow up and I'm no longer here." And that her recollection of Mimi is that Mimi was always sad. That's what I remember, is Mimi was always sad. So anyway, that's just a little funny story because it really does crack me up. Elizabeth does a thing before Elsie goes to bed at night where they talk about the day and all the things that they did, or the games that they played, or the toys that they played with, or who they saw. And she said that the other night, Elsie kept saying Mimi was sad. So sorry. Anyway, all right, let's move on. So, but yeah, so the Christmas and New Year's, I'm gonna look at what you guys, you're texting over here now or chatting, and I can't see it. Melody, I just adore you, Melody. Don't forget to hit the like button if you can. Vicky, beautiful family, thank you. John is asking if the audio is working for everyone because his just went out. I don't know. Can you hear me? Good morning, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Good morning, Pam. We're glad you joined in. Dina, good. Glad says it's working for me. Tracy's working. Okay, good. Woo. Kim says, if your dogs have loose stools, try giving them Fortiflora. I actually have some of that, so I will do that. And then John says his came back. Audio is fine. Tracy, what an amazing keepsake. Yeah, that little story thing, absolutely. I didn't know that something like that even existed. So as much as I may not like technology, there are elements to it where I'm like, wow, that's really cool that forever we could just open that book and it just automatically plays that story. That is an absolute treasure. Sydney says Easton is leading the eggnog toast. Yes, ma'am, he was. He loved it. It's too funny. Okay, anyway, all right, so let's go on to our second brewing topic. Hold on, let me go back to here. Okay, good. Second brewing topic is, what is it? It's, Eric's celebration of life. So, I know you guys are like, oh my gosh, how long is this going on, Amy? Well, we are at the 1 year mark, guys. We are this week, as I said, if any of you are my Facebook friends, this week is really difficult because as a reminder, it was New Year's Eve last year at 7:41 in the morning when Eric sent me that text message that said help. And at that point, everything changed because it was an immediate help. He was hyperventilating, couldn't breathe, rushed him to the ER. They intubated him within minutes. That's when the end essentially began, was New Year's Eve of last year. And then he passed on January 8th. So this whole week that we are in right now, I'm just every day kind of reliving where we were, which hospital were we at, what procedure was happening, was he still intubated, was he coming out of the anesthesia? It just a lot. So I'm kind of reliving all of that. But his celebration of life is going to be this Saturday. It is in Williamsburg, Virginia. As I've said before, that's where his sister lives, and so many of his friends, and both childhood friends, high school friends, and a lot of the people that we used to perform with are kind of in and around the area. So that's going to be this Saturday. So I've been doing a lot of prep for that, and I'll fill you in when we do come back. But because Eric's celebration of life is going to be next week, I'm going to miss coffee time that Monday morning. Sorry, my nose is itching and running. I'm going to not have coffee time that Monday, but then I promise you, when we come back, we'll be back on our regular schedule. I just have some traveling I need to do because that's in Virginia. I need to get back to Florida. So just a lot kind of going on. So, but as long as you'll be here ready and waiting for me when I come back, that'll be great. And I will fill you in on how the celebration of life goes. Eric had always said that, and this is before he knew what was going to happen. He talked about wanting a New Orleans type funeral where there was a lot of, it's okay to be mournful in the beginning, but he wants a big old party and singing and dancing in the end. So that's what we're going to try to give him. So we're working on that. We've got some last minute details. I'm trying to figure out, kind of a big one that I forgot about until the last minute. So I'm scrambling today trying to get that taken care of. But anyway, so bear with me. We're going to get through this together, and I'll share all of the moments of that celebration of life with you 2 weeks from now. And then, and then we're just going to put on my big girl britches, and I'm just gonna keep on trucking forward and try not to lose it on coffee time. I think it's because you guys are my friends. I think it's because you guys are our friends and family, and you followed us along this journey in so many capacities and for so long that I feel like I don't know, I feel like I'm at home with you guys. By the way, Elizabeth asked me the other day, and has anyone heard from Rob? Do you remember Rob was here every week? He had the pirate little icon person thumbnail thingy for him. I had not thought about that, and she mentioned it, and now I'm like panicked, and I don't have his contact information. I think he may have communicated with Eric at one point in time, so I'm going to dig through Eric's phone and see if I can maybe find something. But it hurts my heart because I know he wasn't doing well health wise. So anyway, Ames Carmody, will there be a video for us who can't make it? I would love to be there, but can't. I know, I completely understand. I don't know. Oh my gosh, my notes. Oh wait, hold on. I do have a tissue. Hold on. Sorry. Okay. It's the tickle running of the nose. I am going to ask for people to take pictures. I don't know that I have anybody that is officially going to videotape it or record it, but I can ask and see if somebody's available. Yeah, so Sydney says she's been wondering about Rob as well. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I don't know. Gosh, part of it is because some of you are actual clients and friends, and I see your name, first and last name, Pam Hickman. But I don't, not everyone has their full name or contact info in there. So I don't really know. Maybe I'll go back through some of the old ones and see if I can find something. Anyway, I have been thinking about him, and want to make sure I send him some happy thoughts and find out where he is. Kim says, I know it would be sad and difficult, but Eric would want everyone to tell lots of stories and laugh with him. Yes. And you know what? I have to tell you, I just got yesterday a dear friend of ours, Eric's college roommate. We all performed together. Rob Collins. Yes. Rob Collins. Jane. Yes. Rob Collins. Thank you for that. I'm going to go back and see what we can find out. But I got a message last night from a dear friend named Tim Smith, who is the creative director for Cirque du Soleil in Vegas. He was on Broadway, did lots of shows on Broadway, an absolutely amazing performer. We all worked together for years back in our performing days. And he just messaged me last night. He's out in California, and he said he's coming. And so to your point, we are definitely going to have a few people. There's a lot of people coming, candidly, like a lot of people. And I hope that people are going to be okay with, not having an abundance of space, because it was really hard to determine how many people would come. I figured it would be a fair amount, but is a fair amount 25? Is a fair amount 50? Is a fair amount 100? I didn't know. And so the venue we ended up adding an extra room to it. But I think even now we're still going to be a little tight. But that's okay. We're gonna share some stories about Eric and celebrate all the wonderful things that he did while he was here, and all of the friends that he made, and the many ways that he impacted people. In fact, you know what? I can't do it right now, but as we were pulling up photos, and Elizabeth, remind me later, he created a soccer club. He was always taking care of the youth in our area. I had my dance studio, and then he was the Little League president for a few years, and then he created a soccer club called Yorktown FC. That it continued even after we moved to Florida. But then when that club ultimately closed or merged or whatever, they donated those uniforms to Ghana, I believe. And so I have a picture sitting right here. I can see it. You can't see it, and I'll get it for you later. But there's a picture of all of these beautiful kids in Yorktown FC uniforms that were donated from a club that Eric started. So anyway, so yeah, there's going to be a lot of stories, and I will try to see if there's somebody that can maybe record it. That's a good idea. Honestly, my brain is kind of not all there. They talk about like brain fog, like widow brain fog. Sometimes it's just brain fog, people. But if we want to say it's because of that, sure, I'll take it. But normally I'm very, very, very detail oriented when it comes to that. And I definitely was going to ask people to take pictures so that we could share that, but I'll see if I can get somebody to videotape it. Maybe I keep saying videotape it. Is that even what we do anymore? Do we record it? I don't know. Anyway. All right. So let's just keep on moving. So our third topic is, it's not that. That was the opening button. Sorry. Real estate. We're going to get into a real estate topic, and we're going to talk about expectations potentially for 2026, if you can believe it, that we are already here. So this is general. This is just kind of my thoughts. Okay. Not an expert on the whole real estate, country, state to state. But from what I've been seeing in these areas, it appears that in 2026, we can probably expect the following. That rates are still going to dictate the buying power of any buyer out there. So, we may have buyers, but we have an abundance of inventory, which is basically the second line item there. So, we have a lot of inventory. So it's still a buyer's market, but there's still not a tremendous amount of buyers. I do expect more to enter in the market now, but rates are still going to dictate what they can buy and how much buying power they have, which leads to the next couple of points, which is if you're a first-time home buyer, you're still probably going to struggle. It's very difficult, sorry. Sorry. Eric and I were very fortunate that when we purchased our very first townhome, my grandmother gave us a gift of $10,000 to help us get into that townhome, because when you're young, it's not so much, and you all know this, I'm sure. Sometimes you think, if I can pay rent, I can pay the mortgage. Yeah, but you have to have the money to get into the house to begin with. And that big lump sum, even as an FHA or a first-time home buyer, is still a significant amount. And so it still can be a challenge for first-time home buyers unless they have some assistance from family or friends. But so it's still going to be a little bit of a challenge, I think, for them. Overall, I think they're expecting about a 14% increase in home sales for 2026, meaning we're going to sell more homes in 2026 than we did in 2025. However, the value of those homes that is going to be a little bit slower. Winter Garden is a perfect example of the amount of equity that people had in their homes when they were first buying and building. And now people, like, you could turn around and sell it, or sometimes if you were new construction and you purchased it, and then it took them, 10, 11, 12 months to build it, the community was still growing, the base price was increasing. And by the time you close on your home, the same home that you bought at a base price of $550 now has a base price of $562. So you got $12,000 in equity, and you haven't even closed on the house yet, or sometimes even more than that. That's not the case anymore, and it hasn't been the case. And we've had a real difficult time getting the sellers out there to understand that, because they only see what they want to see, they only hear what they want to hear, and they only remember what they want to remember in most cases. Not so for some of my clients. They will come to me specifically because I don't try to win a listing by telling you your home is $1 gazillion when I don't have any data to support that, because that doesn't do any of us any good. But anyway, so for 2026, this is probably what we can expect. Rates will still dictate. Inventory is still going to be high, which means it's going to be a buyer's market. What that means is that the buyers have more options, right? The buyers have far more options. For one buyer, if they've got 20 houses or 30 houses that they can choose from that all meet their wants and needs, then they get to dictate which house they want, and they can be a little bit more aggressive, and they can maybe ask for something. Again, but because the values are not going up, don't think you can lowball. Okay, there's, again, nuance. There's nuance and there's strategery, as Eric would say. So that's kind of important to note. But yeah, so I think that 2026 is gonna be better. It's going to, be more more home sales across the board. There's a lot of areas with new construction, not just in Florida, but again, out in Virginia, in the Richmond area, it is booming out there as well. And in lots and lots and lots of places, even all across the country. So I'm excited about 2026. I mean, it's, it's kind of like a 2025 was such a blur, obviously. And I'm so grateful to all of my clients who stood with me through the blur. 2026 is I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be very interesting, and I'm excited for all the people out there that are hopefully going to be able to make their dreams come true and find the home that they want. So anyway, okay, so let's move on. Oh, hi Iris. We have Iris popped in. So great you were doing it. Hugs. Yay, thank you. Excellent. And then let's see, who else did we have? Tracy, may Eric's celebration of life also be a time of healing for your family and friends. Thank you, Tracy. Yes, I agree. And I think it will be. I think we're looking forward to hearing stories from other people. I have to tell you, that was, and then I'm going to move on to our next thing. But, so many quotes and stories and poems and things about when you lose a loved one. And here's the reality. If you are married, one of you is going to be a widow or a widower. And you just don't think about that. You just don't. You say the vows, but that's not even on your radar. That's not going to happen to me. We're going to be old and grow old together. Even if you grow old together, somebody is going to go before the other. And that is crushing, because I think, had I don't know if I'd have thought about that, if that would have made anything any easier, because certainly I was not expecting him to pass a month after he turned 57. That's way too young. But at any rate, it's still a lot that I've been thinking about, and it's I don't know, it's a lot. It's a lot to think about. But I'm excited about the celebration of life. I'm excited to see friends and to share a little bit about Eric. I've got so many stories, I don't know which one to share. But anyway, but we'll get it recorded, or we'll get some little clips for you. All right, let's move on. So what do we have? Oh, secret. Okay, so coming soon, I have 2 listings coming up. One of them is coming up this week. Going to go active on the 7th. It is a beautiful MI home over in a community in Winter Garden. It is a beautiful big 2-story Newport floor plan, absolutely gorgeous custom things that they did inside the home. Big, beautiful lot, nobody behind them. And by Florida laws, I can't publicly advertise, so I can't give you too many specifics, but I can tell you that it's going to go active on the 7th. I'm excited about that one. So next week we'll put that in, and next week I won't be here, but the next week after that, we'll talk a little bit more about it. We'll feature that as our featured listing. And then I also have another listing, which is a bungalow style home, over in the Ovation Village, close to the entrance at Disney. That one is going to go on the market on the 12th. So that one will actually go active next Monday. Yeah, next Monday. So 2 new listings that are getting ready to come up. So if you think they might, tickle your fancy, or if you think you might have friends or family that are interested, or if you might be interested, those could be some good ones. If not, you can share it with some friends. All right, let's move on. Let me see. What is the next one? Scoop, scoop, scoop. Okay, so this is a topic I wanted to talk about. It's cost effectiveness of builder grade versus an upgrade. Now, what I mean by this, it's not really a scoop, but I do have a client, they've contracted on their beautiful new home by Dreamfinders, and we were discussing, because they went to the design center, and I hear this all the time, and I really can do a whole bigger segment on this, but maybe I will. But they had gone to the design center, and like most people, when you go to the design center, even if you allow yourself a budget, even if the builder gives you a closing cost or a design center credit, Meaning we'll give you $10,000 at the design center. So the first $10,000 worth of upgrades you don't pay for, that kind of an incentive. You still look at your number and you start to go, what? And in this case, that's what happened. And I tell people this all the time. We try to give you a relatively accurate percentage of what you should expect to potentially spend at the design center, just so that you aren't totally shocked by the bottom line price. But in this case, they did what I suggest most people do, is ask your design consultant, the person that's assisting you through the process, if they can break down the price. So let's say if you were to do an included tile, but in an area like the family room, that would typically be carpet included with the builder. But if you were to upgrade it to a standard tile, what would that cost be? And then what would that cost be if you upgraded that to a higher grade level tile, or if you added LVP flooring, whatever flooring material you wanted, so that you could kind of see the breakdown. Because you might go, okay, well, in that room, if I just use the standard builder grade tile and I just extend it into that area, that might cost me $1,000. I'm just throwing out numbers, okay? That might cost $1,000. But if you upgrade it to an upgraded tile, maybe that same room now is going to be, $2,500. And then let's say you're like, well, I really want LVP. That's kind of what I want. So I want to change that. And in that room alone, now that LVP is, $5,000. Again, I'm throwing out numbers, but just as an example. So all of a sudden, that one room is now $5,000 to do that one room in a high level LVP flooring. And so what happens is as the consumer, we're like, does it really cost that much to do that room? Like, I could go to Lowe's and buy the flooring, and I'm handy, I could do it. Or I could even get a flooring company. And in this case, that's what you can do. Sometimes you call the flooring company. They can give you a quote to do the exact same flooring. And that's what my clients did. They were like, okay, well, if we got the style number of the flooring that we wanted, we went to a flooring company, gave them the room dimensions, and they could see the tremendous builder markup on doing the flooring. And so their question when we chatted is, should we do that? Should we upgrade the flooring with the builder, or should we just do it later? And I have had it. I've seen many times where somebody will purchase a home and they will choose the builder included options. They will do the builder carpet where it's carpet, the builder tile where it's tile, builder faucets, builder fixtures. And then after they close on the home, they rip all that stuff out, sometimes even countertops, guys. That, to me, that's just crazy, but okay. They rip all of that out right after they've closed on the home, and then they re-put in the flooring that they want. The problem is that nearly every builder, in fact, I can't think of one where this is not a true statement. If you rip all that out, you have now voided the warranty. Should there be another problem that arises because maybe the floor has an issue, you didn't realize that, and it's 3 months down the road, well, the builder's going to come in and go, did you rip up the floor that we installed? And you're going to say, yeah, because you did, because they know. And then they're going to say, well, you have no way to prove that this was a us problem. This could have been done by the contractor that you had that did the work in the home. And again, I don't fault the builder for doing that. We can debate whether or not we feel like that's fair. But I can understand why they do that. If you have other people that come into a home that they've built for you and you mess with it, it could vary. And you don't like, we've talked before about electrical. If you just start doing electrical stuff in your house, rewiring things and adding this and tapping into that, and then all of a sudden you have an electrical problem, why is the builder responsible if you made some messy uppy oopies, right? Remember how I told you the story about my clients who renovated the bathroom in a brand new townhome that they purchased? The bathroom was upstairs. The company that did the renovation, true, reputable company. It was just an accident, but a problem happened. The leak went all down to the first floor, mold all in the walls. They had to rip it out. That was not the builder's fault. And that's the problem you may run into. So really it's about the cost effectiveness. Is it cost effective? If you only are focused on the money, then yeah, get the builder grade and then rip it all out. But remember that can cost you more in the long run if you're not paying attention to some of the other aspects of it. So just keep that in mind, and mostly just make sure you have a level of expectation when you go to the design center, because I will tell you, you do get sticker shock. You look at it, you're like, I can buy that exact same backsplash. Why is it this much? Well, it's because it's a builder, and they can, and they're doing the installation, and they're the ones that are liable for everything, and they're the ones that are going to warranty the work and the product. So take that as a little bit of knowledge, and you can do with it what you want, because I have had clients do both. I think my biggest thing is I hate it when they rip out the carpet and they just toss all this stuff in the dumpster. It's all brand new. It's never been used. It's not even dirty yet. And they throw it away. And then I think about all of the people, and I know I've said this before because I say it all the time, like Habitat for Humanity, or like some of these companies that, could help those who could use those materials, just getting thrown in a dumpster. It breaks my heart. So anyway, so think about that. Now tell me about what you would do if you were a little bit tight on your budget and you went to the design center. Would you be inclined to just bite the bullet, have the builder do it? It's installed. It's going to look good. It's all going to be warranted. It's going to be fine. Or are you more inclined to go, nope, I just want to get baseline, bare minimum, and then that way I can really not be limited to just the design options that the builder offers. Now I can go to places like Floor and Decor and like just go have a field day and go find fixtures that you want that might be unique, or go find flooring that the builder didn't offer. What route do you think you might go if it were you? So chat that in here. I'm going to go back and look at those later on as we go too. So Kim said, so Pam Hickman, we had someone in our neighborhood that got the builder everything, and he literally gutted his house and redid it. I hear it all the time. Vicky, you literally start to sweat. Yes. I tell you, even though I knew what to expect when we built our home, I still sat with Eric in the car at the end of our meeting, and I like cried. I'm like, why are you charging me like, $60 or $80 for a toilet paper holder? Like, what? Like, that's just blatantly like, I don't know. That's when you feel like you're robbing me and I'm looking at you rob me. You're not just going to put in the $2 toilet paper holder for me. It's not going to be included. You're going to charge me for it. Like what? So anyway, there's a lot of things. Gary, I like his point. The real problem with the design center is you only get one shot at it. You don't get to come back a week later to confirm or change selections. I know, Gary, that's a very good point. That's very true. You do. You only get one shot, and then you have to sign off on it. And I have often said, and I think some of the builders' technology is changing a little bit, but I had a client once, and I use this story a lot because remember, with my pillow's starting to get squished down here. I had a client years ago. She picked a specific pebble beachy type tile in the floor of her primary bathroom shower, and the home was going under construction, and they put in like a hexagon tile in the shower. And so she's like, hey, Amy, I noticed that that's the wrong tile. Like, what do we do? And I'm like, oh, well, we let them know. She's like, well, I called them, and the builder's response was, oh, well, things look different when you see it in full scale because, you're just looking at these tiny swatches and these tiny little sample pieces at the design center. And of course, my client was very intelligent, and you don't even have to be intelligent to know this. She's like, well, I know the difference between a hexagon and like pebbles. And that one really kind of ticked me off because I'm very much, hey, we're human. And as I've said a gazillion times, my measure of a builder is how they recover when something goes wrong, because something always does. So how the builder reacted to that told me a lot about that builder. The first thing they're going to do is blame it on my client. Oh, well, you don't know what you picked and what it looks like full scale. Okay, well, she probably does because she's the one that paid for it and like agonized over all of these choices. And you don't know because you're just, and I don't fault the actual installation crew because they're just putting in what was ordered. And ultimately we got it all fixed. But to your point, Gary, when you go to the design center, you are at the mercy of that person that's entering in your information and hoping that they entered in exactly what you chose and that they did not make a mistake. Then they give you the paperwork and then you have to read it. And sometimes it's a lot of mumbo jumbo that we don't understand. Timberlake level 4, craftsman, flat panel, painted harbor, whatever. And you're like, I don't know. I just know that would look pretty, right? And so you are kind of at the mercy of the design consultant to enter in the information that you think is correct. And sometimes when you're going through it, you don't know what you're signing. You're not seeing a little picture of what you chose. And I will say, I've mentioned that for years. And there's a few builders now that when you get your design, you can see some little pictures. So at least it helps a little bit. But yeah, to your point, for sure, you don't get a second chance at it. So you kind of have to know going in what your vibe is. Well, let's see. Oh my goodness, everybody. Pam, we upgraded things like the main floor, the kitchen, and the electrical. Yeah. I always tell people focus your budget on the counters, cabinets, and the flooring. And make sure you add the lighting. Like if you want the LEDs, extra lighting, add those because that needs to be done when you build. But you can swap out the chandelier later, just kind of go for that. Let's see. Tracy, we hired a professional to replace the builder carpet, which she used to replace carpet in our previous home. That we put on the market, which helped it sell. Well, isn't that wonderful? That's smart. I love that. See, that's a great way to reuse and repurpose and recycle. Vicky, now that I know better, I would do the best to go with the builder so it's under warranty. I would do the best to go. Yeah, I know, right? Do the best to go with the builder so it's under warranty. It's a tough pill to swallow. I agree because you look at the flooring, and when I told my clients, I said, full disclosure, Eric and I spent $60,000 just on the flooring alone in the house that I sold recently, just in the flooring. I want to like puke when I think about that because I know it didn't cost the builder that much to do it, but the builder put it in. The builder warrantied it. It looked great. And anytime I did have a problem, if I did, I would have been able to have the builder take care of it. But it can be a hard pill to swallow for sure. Melody, I would be a mess at the design center. I am a thinker. If you're a thinker, my love, you're going to need to get yourself some like a Pinterest board and go in with a full idea of the vibe, the feel that you want, and then let your design consultant guide you a little bit. That will help you, I think, for sure. Good morning. Hello from behind Levi Stadium. I love it. Love a craftsman home. I do. I like that exterior aesthetic as well. And then Melody says she has the same Winnie the Pooh mug. Well, of course you do. That doesn't shock me at all. All right, so let's move on because I want to show you what I was. Where is it? Oh, watching. All right, so I couldn't talk about it too much because I didn't want to ruin the little segment. But yeah, so the way that I spent New Year's Eve into New Year's Day was watching the finale of Stranger Things with Elizabeth. Ever since Stranger Things started, that was a show that Elizabeth and I watched together. Every season, every episode, we watched it together. So it was really, really nice that when she came to stay with me for Christmas, that we used those anytime we could, scooch away and watch half an episode. We would go get all snuggled up in the bed and we would watch and we kept looking at the monitor going, hopefully Elsie will sleep a little bit longer so we can finish this episode. But we did, we finished it, we watched it, and I'm a big fan. I loved it. I think I don't pay attention to what the other people say, but I think some people were not happy with the way it ended. I thought it was great, but I'm a happy-go-lucky person anyway. So Kim says, my builder, I remember this. Builder tried to put in the shower pan in her master bedroom shower when they picked out and paid for tile. They tried to fight me on it, but thankfully she had the paperwork and they had to fix it. Yep. I remember that. I do remember that. Yeah. And sometimes it's an honest mistake. It's a clerical error, but that goes back to my point about how we are kind of at the mercy of the person at the design center to enter in our information correctly. Because how would Kim necessarily have known, I mean, the paperwork says one thing. Well, somewhere between the design center and the person that actually is the purchaser and sends out the orders, there's just a mistake that happens. But to Kim's point, the first response shouldn't be, "Oh, you're wrong, consumer who spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on this home." It should be, in my opinion, the first response should be, "Oh my gosh, well, let me go back to the paperwork, take a look, and see what happened." Okay, you don't have to blame anybody because we're all human. It just drives me nuts. Anyway, Pam says, "I heard the ending wasn't great." I have to tell you, Pam, I don't know. I liked it. When there's a series that ends, you kind of want closure on each of the characters. Where does their journey continue? And I think they did an okay job with that. I don't want to give anything away for anyone that may want to watch it. And I think, in my opinion, the characters were wrapped up where they could be wrapped up, and enough open potential possibilities if there was ever anything to stem from this show down the road. Leave it at that. So I actually liked it. I didn't have any problem. Sydney says, "I'm 2 seasons behind." You'll get there. You'll get there. My firstborn daughter and grandchildren love that show. I love it. Daryl says, "That's Jazzy's show too." Yeah. I'm guessing she watched the finale then. Elizabeth and I were just waiting to we didn't watch anything until she got here, and then we kind of just went through it real fast, as fast as we could anyway. All right, let's keep going. Word.
Oh, now come on, Amy, tell me what's the word.
Okay, a CAM fee. What is a CAM fee? A CAM fee. Somebody asked me this recently. CAM stands for Common Area Maintenance. So this is going to be within your HOA fees. You'll find it most often in commercial real estate. I know when I had my dance studio, CAM fees, again, common area maintenance, the parking lots, the curb landscaping around the shopping center, the common area maintenance. But you can see things like that in your HOA as well. Common area maintenance is the commonly used community attributes of the community, the playgrounds, the walkways, the little trails that they might have, the pools, the parks, the playgrounds, any of those types of things that are the common areas within the community. You might hear it referred to as a CAM fee. And I say that because a lot of people don't know, and they're like, "Well, what's that fee?" I'm like, "Well, it's common area maintenance. It's okay. That's part of what you pay for when you have an HOA fee, is that the common area needs to be maintained, and they refer to it as a CAM fee." So hopefully you learned a little bit of something there. All right. And let's see, I wanted to do babies. Okay, here's a couple more pictures. Let me put my water over there. Couple more pictures just of the kiddos, trying to share a little bit with you. There's Elizabeth with Elsie. And then there's Easton coming down the stairs Christmas morning to see what Santa brought. And I have to tell you, Santa, the elves are making some things that they did not make when I was a little kid, or when I even had little kids myself. They all have like play kitchens, like the Step 2 or the Little Tykes kitchens, or Little Fisher Price. Those are fantastic. But Santa brought him some like wooden ones that have like drawers, that have like pretend lunch meat, ketchup bottles. Like there's a pantry with fruit cans and soup cans and vegetable cans. There's ice cubes in the little ice maker in the refrigerator. It's amazing. And so we went over to see what Santa brought Easton, and it was kind of amazing. It was really fun. I'm like, can I just play with this? Because like I'll play this all day long. I don't want to really cook in my real kitchen, but I'll play cook anytime. Anyway, so that's just a little picture. And then from there, let's go to cup. And then this was just a picture. When I never got a picture of all of us, unfortunately. It was a little bit too hectic. Oh wait, I think I have something I wanted to show you. Yes, I do. Cool. Excuse me. Because the kiddos were getting a little restless. There's a lot of us, and we just got this one picture, which is me and my 4 kids and my 2 grandbabies. But unfortunately, we didn't have Hong in that picture. We didn't have Steele in the picture, and we didn't have Caroline in the picture, but they were there. I intended to get a picture with all of us, and something happened, I guess, and we just didn't do it. But this is it. This is our little family. Elizabeth holding Elsie, Dawson, me, Allie, and Easton, and then Forrest. So, and this was, I don't even know when this was. This was like, what, Christmas Eve or day before Christmas Eve? I don't know when it was, but it was just around the holidays. Took that picture, and makes my heart happy. It was really nice to have all of, I don't know what next Christmas will be like. I don't know. I don't know if we're all going to be able to be together again. That could have been the last one where we're all together. It gets more difficult, right? When the kids grow up and the kids get married and the kids have kids and the kids have families and the kids' spouses have families, and it can be a little tricky. So I've not only navigating so many things differently, but getting to that point of my life and I'm like, oh, well, I don't like this part. I want to do it over again. I loved having kids in the house and the little ones, and I want to go back in time. But I'm sure we all kind of say that. But anyway, but it was really nice to have that Christmas with everyone here, and it was a tough one, but we all got through it, as we said. So we're trucking on. But look at this. I just wanted to share this with you. I know you probably saw this, but if you have chat, whatever it is, the AI thing, you can chat GPT it or whatever. Somebody said to do this, and I don't have Elizabeth's in here. Oh, darn. Somebody said, before you take down the tree, shoot, I'm not prepared. Oh, well, anyway, somebody said, before you take down your tree, have your children or your child or whomever, or you or your spouse or the couple, whoever, sit down with your back to the camera looking up at the tree and then put it into Chat GPT and tell them to make that picture look like a Norman Rockwell painting. And it is freaking amazing. So I had Elizabeth do that, and I don't know where that picture is, somewhere around here. But then later on, I was like, well, I wonder if I could just do one like of the Christmas tree in the fireplace. Would it still do it? So this is what it looked like. I know it's not great, but look at that. Isn't that kind of cool? And again, it's just a regular old piece of paper, but I just think that's so cool. So if you haven't already taken down your decorations, it's still time. You can do that. I've taken down most everything. My main tree is still up because that's always the hard one to take down, because I have to put all of the kids' ornaments in their individual boxes and put them in their individual bins. And it's a little bit more of a process. And I don't have time for that right now because I'm trying to get work done, trying to have coffee time, and then trying to get ready for Eric's celebration. And so we'll get that eventually. But anyway, all right, my friends, let me see where we are. Oh my gosh, look, all this stuff. How has this happened? Like all of a sudden I look and then you guys are all the way down. Pam says I miss it too. I know, right? It's really hard. There's so many things you just think that. I think that sometimes you think when you are in your however old you were, your 20s to 30s to 40s, where you're married and you've got the kids and you're having more kids and the family's growing, and it's just such a wonderful, amazing time. You just don't think that time isn't going to always be. And even if you think it here, you're not really comprehending it. You're like, oh yeah, I know. Just like you're like, oh, I know that people pass away. But until it like hits you, you're like, oh, wait, like, okay, so my Christmases like that are gone. Like, for instance, we never had our hot cocoa. I always make this big crock pot of hot chocolate and never made it this year because there just was never a time that we were all here to do it, to be together, that we weren't already jam packing everything else into that same amount of time, right? Because Forrest and Caroline don't live here. Allie and Hong don't live here. Elizabeth was staying with us, but, they're not all in the house. When everyone's in the house, you can wake up and have a special breakfast because they're all there. But when they're not coming until later in the day, it's a big adjustment to go, okay, so I guess Christmas breakfast probably is not going to be a thing really anymore. And then you're like, oh, well, I guess probably the turkey sandwiches late at night, probably not going to be anymore. Hot cocoa, or if we're not all together, like if we have to pick Thanksgiving or Christmas, how does that affect decorating the tree that we always used to do the Friday after Thanksgiving with the hot cocoa? Now that doesn't work anymore. So it's a lot of adjustment. So I'm kind of going through a lot. So I'm going to find someone to talk to in the new year so that I can process through all of this stuff, because it's been such a crazy, chaotic year that it's just a lot. But on that note, we're going to wrap things up here. So I want to thank you again. I am just, as I mentioned earlier on, you feel like my extended family. And so I know I ramble on sometimes, and you might even roll your eyes and go, oh my gosh, Amy, shut up. But I just appreciate you so much for being a part of my life, being a part of my journey and Eric's journey, and being there to support and to love and to send those notes of encouragement and to just listen to me ramble sometimes. So, and of course, always here, happy to help if there's something I could do for you. You can call me 407-848-8042. If you happen to be on the Richmond side, that's 757-329-0055. We're going to change some of these slides here as we go on, but for right now, we're just going to keep it going like this. Oh, I did want to share one thing with you. I want to share with you as we get ready to wrap it up. One of my favorite, I have to cross out a nasty word here. Hold on. I can't show you that word. But this is one of my favorite presents that I got from my daughter and son-in-law. What the blank is my password. So those of you that might be of my age might appreciate that. So I can figure out what are all these passcodes to all of these things and these programs and these computers and these gadgets and gizmos. Galore. So anyway, that's one of my favorites. All right. Anyway, guys. All right. So as we wrap up this particular one, just as a reminder, I won't be here next week because Eric's Celebration of Life is on Saturday and it is in Virginia. So I need to finish that up, and then I need to get back to Florida. And hopefully I'll see some of you guys around, and we get a lot of video production done while I'm, as soon as we get back, a lot of that is scheduled as well. So if there is anything that you guys need, I see Sydney laughing over here. It's funny though, right? It's a great thing to have. And I need it. I need it. Now I just need to remember where I put the book to tell me where all the passwords are. But anyway, that's fine. All right, my friends, I would like to tell you again how much I appreciate you being a part of everything of Heart and Home Orlando, Heart and Home Richmond now. I appreciate you so much. So as always, please stay safe. Stay well, because there's some yucky stuff going all over the place, my friends. And most of all, please remember that I love you and happy house hunting. I appreciate you guys. See you in 2 weeks. Love, love, love.